All right, you're going to have to excuse the congestion and the cold, but I'm going to go ahead and do this right now because I'm feeling passionate about it. When I feel passionate about something, I just got to let it out. I'm going to explain to you why the transgender military ban makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. In logical terms. The other day, Senator John McCain shared an article that was written by the Washington Post about the string of naval accidents that we've had. Boats colliding, running aground. I mean, just things that have been happening that were not because they were doing some kind of combat tactics or anything complicated. No, this was just their standard, very easy day-to-day routine things when these things happened. And the Navy, looking at it, they had come out previously saying that they believed it was a systemic problem. And they've made the complaint in the past that they're too far stretched. And, this is true. And this is true of all our services. They're too far stretched. And they have been for years. Too many deployments with too little time in between. And all our service members are stretched to the limit. But now you have Donald Trump, who wants to, he's stated that he wants to increase the number of service members in our military, but yet wants to do a transgender military ban. Now, we don't know how that affects the people that are serving now. But there's 6,000 to 8,000 that are serving openly right now. For every person that serves openly, you also have a bunch who are serving in the closet, who haven't come out, it's difficult to come out. It is. With so much animosity toward transgender people, it's very difficult to come out, isn't it? But he wants to ban soldiers when he's trying to increase the number of service members. Now, on Main Street in my town, there's a Marine Corps enlistment office. I've never seen anybody go in there. And I certainly don't see lines of people trying to knock down the door to enlist. And for years, for more than a decade, the military has been hard-pressed to get people to enlist. But yet Trump is trying to ban a segment of people who are capable, more than capable, of serving their country, want to serve their country, but he's saying no. For no other reason than to be bigoted. Now, I know that he's claimed that it's because of the financial cost. Everything with him comes down to a financial cost. He's as if he's ever paid a bill in his life. But that's already been debunked. Out of the entire medical budget for the military, the treatment for transgender people is estimated at 0.5% of that budget. And then it's been used as an example that we spend 10 times more on Viagra. And it needs to be pointed out that Viagra is needed, because very often it's used to treat people with PTSD, which is another symptom of serving in our military that often gets ignored. But the people that are serving openly in the military being transgender right now. They serve honorably. They serve well. Now, General Mattis, I saw him today on the news. He was talking to the troops, and he told them, hold the line. Hold the line. And he was talking about this issue. Because, you know, the military has always been out in front of social justice. In the military, everyone is equal. And it was the military who was the first to desegregate whites and blacks and allowed blacks to serve among whites equally. The military did that years before it was deemed allowed in regular society. The military has always been out front. The military lifted the ban against gay soldiers years before gay marriage passed through the Supreme Court. The military has always led. And so the military was looking at the transgender issue as the next logical step. And they were moving in that direction, and we have not heard a whole lot of bitching and complaining from the military about transgender soldiers serving. I know, I've spoken with countless numbers of people who are transgender and served their entire career in the military. 20, 25, 30 years and retired. All while being in the closet. And I just can't even fathom that. You know, that's just an incredible feat. And then now that they're retired, now they're looking to transition. But they're going through a lot of stuff, you know. That creates a lot of issues. It just does. I served for almost 5 years in the military. I served in the infantry. And the reason I served in the infantry, I went in the military, one, because I love my country. And there was a guy under that post of that John McCain had posted about why our commanders believe that this rash of naval accidents has happened due to an overstretching of our military. I commented, well, perhaps we shouldn't be banning capable people from serving their country. And of course you're always going to get somebody, and I did, who is ignorant of the subject matter. And, you know, this person made the same suggestions I've heard, you know, several times. Saying, well, we don't want to pay for your fantasy. And so I replied, well, you know, with education, the general public is going to understand it's not fantasy, but the military already knows this. And yeah, I do a lot of education. If you know, here on this channel, there's lots of videos about the transgender subject. I've talked about it at length. So, you know, I attach a video with it. And then it got down to, you know, finally I just wanted to end the conversation. And this person had suggested that, you know, if we take away your medical stuff, so you can't get treatments and you can't get surgeries, let's see how many of you really want to serve. And it's a false statement. The people that I've spoken with that have served 25, 30 years and then retired, they weren't doing it because they thought they were going to get some kind of medical treatment. Obviously, it wasn't available. When I served from 86 to 91, it certainly wasn't available. but yet I served because I loved my country. Now, the reason I went into the infantry was because I was running from my gender. I was trying to show to the world, because I was so closeted. I was trying to prove to the world, which I didn't need to do, but I felt I needed to do. I was trying to prove to the world, I'm a guy. I am so male. And so I had to go in the infantry. When I took the ASVAB, I scored, extremely high. And my enlistment NCO said, seriously, you want to go in the infantry? I said, it has to be the infantry. He said, well, you can do whatever you want. And I was like, no, it has to be the infantry. Now, if I had been able to go in openly, I may have made a different choice. There's absolutely nothing wrong with serving in the infantry. It was honorable service. But I may have made a different choice. Now, the people that are serving openly in the military right now who are transgender, you have to understand the amount of courage it took. Because many of these people were already serving and then came out. The lift on the ban of transgender soldiers is only, I don't even know if it's 2 years old yet. And so the majority of people who are transgender serving in our military now, who have come out and said, yes, I am transgender, were already in the military. But now they've taken that extremely brave step and come out. And from the stories I've read of those military soldiers, they're exemplary. And I understand that need, and I understand the reasonings why they're exemplary. When Truman signed the order to desegregate the military, and then blacks were serving with whites, they felt they had to be exemplary. They had to do twice as good as their peers to get half the respect. And the transgender soldiers that are serving now have to do twice as good as their peers to get half the respect. I know they're in that same position. And I know they feel it. They must, and I've seen enough stories that would suggest that is the case. So the reasoning, that thought that a transgender person is only going to be serving, the only reason that we have 8,000 plus transgender people serving in the military is because they think they're going to get some kind of medical treatment from it, is a false statement. It's a false reasoning. They're serving because they love their country. And Trump wants to increase the number of troops. And like I said before, at that Marine Corps enlistment office, I'm not seeing anybody beating down the door to try to enlist, to try to sign up. But Trump wants to increase the troops. So would you rather have people who are capable and willing to serve in a volunteer army that we have? Or would you rather have a draft to try to meet the numbers required?